everyone. Welcome back to Wait, It Gets Better. This is episode 25. And I know I said previously that I was going to speak about like spending time with your family and what you can do if you don't enjoy it or what you can do, if you do enjoy it. But I decided in spirit of it being Pride Month, this is the first day of Pride Month, I wanted to talk about pride. I felt strongly about making this episode about the LGBTQIA plus community. You know, um, Today is, besides that being that is my niece's birthday. Happy birthday to my beautiful niece, the OG niece. So let's dive in. So it was a bit of a switch up. I know I said I would talk about spending time with family, but I felt it was necessary to talk about this. So I am not giving advice on one specific topic when it comes to pride. I want to talk about how to be an ally, how to support people dealing with parental rejection, and giving a little history behind pride with a little resources as well. I'll do story time. And like I said, mental health resources. And I'm such an ally to the community. I believe all human beings have their rights. I'm aware of what homophobia and transphobia are, but I don't quite understand why it even exists in the first place. Because why does someone else's sexuality or gender identity bother another person? It just baffles me all the time. Like, yes, I am an educated woman, but I'm also an accepting person, and I can't fathom any of that hateful bullshit. Like, I really can't. From a young age, I was surrounded by gay people, so I have always been accepting. It hurts me when I would see friends of mine not being accepted by their fathers or parents due to their sexuality. I had a friend that had to pretend to be straight at home, but would come to the parties we would have and be fully himself. And I just remember sitting with him one day telling him I can't wait for the day that he comes out and lives his truth, because it pained me to see him hide that part of himself in the very place that he was living. No one should have to hide their truth to make others comfortable. It's like making yourself uncomfortable to please others and make them more comfortable, and that's not fair to yourself. So I did the research on how to support and dealing with parental rejection. Now, can I be honest? While I was reading this, I was getting really, really emotional because, I've known people to deal with parental rejection and I've seen firsthand how it affects them. It's heartbreaking. And like I said, I was getting teary eyed. It it's horrible. Like, it could be my time of the month, I don't know, but something about this topic makes me so sad. It is the reality that so many people in the LGBTQIA plus community aren't accepted at home, and they either commit suicide or live on the streets due to their parents' rejections. I did the research, and here's some advice on how to support a friend facing parental rejection. Now, to support someone dealing with parental rejection during Pride, focus on empowerment. Encourage them to acknowledge their feelings, build a supportive network, and prioritize their mental health. Remind them that their worth is not determined by their family's reactions, and that Pride Month is a time to celebrate their identity and build community. Now, here's a little bit of an elaboration. Validate their feelings. Rejection can be deep, so acknowledge their emotions. Let them know it's okay to feel hurt, angry, or sad. You can say things like, "It's understandable that you're feeling this way," or "I can see how awful that must be," and focus on self care. Encourage them to engage in to bring them joy and help them cope. This could include exercise, spending time in nature, listening to music, or engaging in hobbies. And build a supportive network. Help them identify and connect with friends, family members, or community groups who are accepting and affirming. Encourage them to build a chosen family that provides love and support. Empower them to set boundaries. Help them understand that they do not have harmful behavior, can set boundaries and limit contact if necessary. And highlight Pride Month. Remind them that Pride Month is the time to celebrate their identity as community, and encourage them to participate in Pride events or activities that make them happy, and remind them of their worth. Help them remember that their worth is not determined by their family's reactions, Their identity is a source of pride and strength, and they deserve to be loved and accepted for who they are. Professional support. If they are struggling with depression and anxiety or other mental health issues, encourage them to seek professional help. Therapy can be, helpful in developing coping strategies. And also be a source of support. Offer to listen, be present, and offer practical help. Are finding support by creating a chosen family of supportive friends. Now, here are some resources for people in the LGBTQIA plus community who are struggling. The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. You can reach them 1-873-TALK or 800-255. For veteran, 1 and text talk to 741 and text with a trained counselor from the crisis text line. The Trevor line 7 at 1-868-386 the 304 at via the trevorproject.org line. Support for transgender people by transgender people is 1-877-565 or SAGE, the LGBT Elder Line, peer support and local resources for older adults, 1-234 SAGE, or the LGBT National Hotline, peer support and local resources for all ages, 1-888-843-4564. Now, many saying Pride is just a month that people get sales on rainbow stuff and gays celebrate Pride, but it is much more than that. Honestly, I will say I hate that some businesses only recognize the community for the sake of sales. I think more businesses should do year-round sales of things that contribute to helping out the community. But let me give a little history of Pride now, because we spoke about, how to be a support to somebody facing parental rejection. And now I want to speak about the history of Pride. Now, Pride is now a global celebration of the LGBTQIA plus identity rights, began nation and police brutality. The Stonewall riots of 1969 in New York City, a direct result of police raid on Stonewall. The Stonewall Inn, a gay bar, sparked the movement. The riots led to protests. Um, so the riots led to hold on, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I got my computer so okay. The riots led to protests and eventually the first Pride March was in 1970, commemorating the anniversary of Stonewall. And now an elaboration. The Stonewall riots, June 20, the police raided the Stonewall Inn at Village. This was a common practice, but this time patrons fought back, leading to 6 days of protests and demonstrations. Now, the Christopher Street Gay Liberation March on June 28, 1970, a year after Stonewall riots, activists organized the first Pride March in New York City to commemorate the event. And this is an expansion and recognition. The initial one-day marches evolved into month-long celebration, eventually becoming Pride Month, widely recognized and celebrated globally. Now, the LGBT History Month. 1994, the United States designated October as LGBT History Month, followed by the federal government recognizing June as Gay and Lesbian Pride Month in 1999. Pride Month has continued to grow, the Department of Defense celebrating the first Pride Month in 2012, and various events and celebrations taking place worldwide. The LGBTQIA plus people's experiences. Here's a more detailed breakdown of how to be an effective ally. Educate yourself. Learn about the history, terminology, and struggles the community faces. Understand the nuances of different identities and the impact of discrimination. Follow the voices on social media. Consume content created by LGBTQIA plus people and understand their experiences and perspectives and be open to learning and correcting yourself. If you make a mistake, be willing to accept feedback and learning from it. And be humble and open to learning. Listen more than you speak during discussions about the issues and allow the individuals to share their experiences and perspectives. And don't assume you know someone's preferred pronouns or identity. Ask and be respectful of their choices. And be open to learning and accepting feedback. If you make a mistake, apologize and aim to do better next time. Actively support the community, speak up against discrimination and harassment, stand up for people when you see or hear something that is harmful, and use inclusive language. Avoid using derogatory terms and make sure to use correct pronouns and validate the LGBTQIA plus people's experiences. Hold on, I'm sorry. What is happening? My computer is so slow. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm operating on a really slow computer. And it like, okay. Okay, validate their experiences. I'm so sorry about this. Let's start this one over. Validate the LGBTQIA plus people's experiences. Acknowledge and validate their feelings and experiences and be visible in your app. Show your support by attending events, wearing rainbow colors, and sharing resources on social media. Support the LGBTQIA plus businesses, organizations. Consider shopping at queer-owned businesses and donating to organizations that support the community. And be a good listener and support system. Be there for friends and loved ones. Let them know you are available to listen and offer support, and ask how you can be supportive. Shows you are genuinely interested in their well-being and willing to help. You know, don't assume that someone is out to everyone. They should control when and whom they come out to. Don't out somebody. That is a big no-no. And check your privilege. Acknowledge your own privilege. Recognize that you may have advantages based on your identity that LGBTQIA plus people may not have. And don't make assumptions about people's experiences. Understand that people will have diverse experiences and needs, and be a trans ally. Respect people's preferred pronouns and names, and this shows you're accepting of their gender identity. Avoid asking intrusive questions about their bodies and medical history. Respect their privacy. About the different identities that fall under the trans umbrella. Understand that trans people have diverse experiences and needs. And be visible. Attend events, rallies, show your support for the community by making your presence known, and share resources and information about issues and help educate others and create a more inclusive environment. Be a visible ally in your daily life. Show your support for the community by wearing rainbow colors, sharing resources, speaking up against discrimination. And by following these steps, you can become a powerful the LGBTQIA plus community and help create more inclusive and equitable worlds. Being an ally is so important. So many people feel like they would rather be dead than being themselves, which is a very, very heartbreaking reality. Now, the youth significantly experience higher rates of mental health challenges compared to their heterosexual or cisgender peers. A large percentage of LGBT youth, anxiety and depression. Additionally, a substantial portion seriously considers or attempts suicide. Factors like discrimination, lack of acceptance, and societal pressures contribute to these challenges. Now, key findings. Most of this is research that I did on the topic. And then the key findings that they found was anxiety and depression. A majority of the LGBTQIA plus youth report experiencing symptoms of anxiety at 73% and depression at 58%. And suicide risk. A significant portion of the LGBTQIA plus youth have seriously considered attempting suicide or transgender, non-binary or people of LGBTQIA plus youth want mental health care are not able to get it. And then also intersectionality. The mental health of LGBTQIA plus youth is further impacted by their race and identities, discrimination and bullying. It gave me the reach for LGBTQIA plus youth are more likely to experience bullying, dating violence, and other traumatic events which can exacerbate mental health challenges. And acceptance and support, a lack of acceptance and support from family and friends can negatively impact their mental health. And the anti LGBTQIA plus rhetoric, it increased anti-LGBTQIA plus rhetoric can worsen symptoms of anxiety and depression. Now, the political I never talk about politics and I never will, but currently the climate we're in realistically a lot of it is geared towards the anti-LGBTQ rhetoric reality of the different laws being passed and the different things being said and how harmful it is to the community. And it's just it's scary times we're living in, and it's it's really heartbreaking. Like, oh, I think they just passed a law saying that trans people can't, which to me is like absolutely bullshit. Like, people have worked hard most of their life to get into the military. Why does it matter their gender identity? Why does any of that matter? Why does it bother the next person? It's all there for the same intent, is to protect the country. Why aren't they allowed to? What is people's main? Like I said, I never want to get into show things and say controversial things in here because I want this to be a safe space. But on the topic of the anti plus rhetoric, something spoken about several times living in. I can't because I said I don't want to get into politics. I only just spoke about, you know, a law being passed, not specifically going into like bashing anybody, but I'm speaking my opinion on how I think that law is gonna say. Well, that these are heartbreaking. Now let's talk about let's talk about and non-binary who have their of suicide attempts. So examples: significant percent of LGBTQIA plus youth have for feeling sad or hopeless. Almost 70% of LGBTQIA plus youth report experiencing persistent feelings, sadness, or hopelessness, compared to 35% of QIA plus youth. Impact of the anti-trans laws. A study found that suicide attempts increased for transgender and non-binary in states that enacted legislation. So I that so heartbreaking that we live in a world that people think it's okay to pass laws based on somebody else's gender or their it's just I'll never understand. Like I said, I'll never understand transphobia or homophobia and substance misuse. The LGBTQI plus high schoolers are more likely to misuse substances. That's what this is not coming from me. This is coming from it's true. Like, Pride Month is a celebration of the community. It also highlights the significant mental health challenges not only faced by youth, but by the adults as well, and by all everyone in the community. Exact. Discrimination, societal stigma, and lack of support can negatively impact mental well-being, leading to increased rates of depression, anxiety, and suicidal ideation. Now, pride events offer community, belonging, and providing opportunities for information, acceptance, and support, which can be beneficial for mental health. Mental health challenges with the community, increased rates of mental health issues. Individuals, particularly youth, experience higher rates of depression, anxiety, adult thoughts compared to their heterosexual cisgender peers. I think I spoke about that as well, but it's true. Minority stress, stigma, discrimination, minority stress group, and barriers to accessing mental health care. The LGBTQIA plus individuals may experience may face difficulties accessing affirming and culturally competent mental health services due to lack of understanding, training, and support. Now, internalized homophobia and transphobia. Internalized prejudice can negatively impact self esteem and mental well being. Now, let's talk positive impacts on mental health that Pride Month has. A sense of community and belonging. Pride events provide safe spaces where individuals can connect with others, find support, and feel a sense of belonging, which can combat feelings of isolation and loneliness. Visibility and representation. Seeing positive representation of the LGBTQIA plus identities boosts self-esteem and validate personal experience. Empowerment and resilience. Participating in Pride events can empower individuals, reinforce self-confidence, and promote resilience. And affirmation and acceptance. For the LGBTQIA plus individuals who express their true selves without fear of judgment, promoting self-acceptance and identity formation. Support mental health is that you can promote health resources. You can make sure individuals know where to find help and mental health organizations and therapists who are affirming for the specific community. Advocate for equal access to mental health care. Work to ensure that LGBT plus individuals have qualities and challenge societal stigma and discrimination. Speak against discrimination and prejudice, accepting environment. Create safe spaces. Provide environments where individuals feel safe and welcome to express their true selves. And support the community and the individuals in their mental health by learning about their experiences, being an ally, and advocating for their rights. Now, please, just all this boils down to is being kind to one another. At the end of the day, we're all human beings. If in this world, if we all took away, race, gender identity, and all those things, at the end of the day, we are all human beings and we all just need to be kind to one another and stop letting other people's like the people that they love or the anything in general, just we have to just be kinder to other people and stop letting our beliefs get in the way of how we treat other human beings and just be kind to one another and realize that love is love and the world has no place for you. Now, I know I gave resources in the beginning, but let me just repeat them. So, just for the sake, like, I could have listened and then I gave them in the beginning, but I want to give them again just to reaffirm what I said. So, the National Suicide 1-800-273-TALK or 1-800-273-8255. Veterans press 1. Text TALK to 74171. Text with a trained counselor at crisis text line for free for 27 projects, which I'm a huge fan of. Um, one of two of my designs for my brand, I designed and they donate I had the intentions of them donating to the Trevor Project. The Trevor Lifeline is available 24/7 at 1-866-488-386, or Trevor Text. Text Trevor to 202-304-1200. The Trevor Chat via the trevorproject.org. The Trans Lifeline, support for transgender by transgender people, 1-877-565-8860, or the Sage LGBT Elder Hotline and local resources for older adults, 888-234-SAGE. Have the LGBT National Hotline, peer support and local resources for all ages, 1-888-843-4564. Usual resources that I give if you or anyone you love is struggling. Text HOME to 741-741 for a free confidential conversation with a trained professional any time of day, or text or call 988 or use the chat. Now, thank you for listening today. I know this was a change up, but next time I'll talk about what I had previously said I was going to talk about. I just felt strongly about making this episode about pride. The world is getting uglier, and sometimes people need to be reminded to be kind, as well as deserved. I love you guys. Stay well, and see you next. Now, to all the beautiful people in the community, be proud of who you are. You are enough, worthy. You you are worthy to take up space. You belong. You are valid, and you are worthy of love, my dears. Stay well. Bye bye, and enjoy Pride Month.